You know, these days hashtags are so ingrained in social media that we rarely think about where it came from. The mysterious character is one of the most powerful tools in marketing and social media. I gotta say, they're almost everywhere, to the point that we take its existence for granted. But have you ever wondered who invented the hashtag and where did it come from? Well, stick around and find out. Right, so before internet became a thing, what we called this hashtag sign depended on where we came from. Americans called it the pound sign, whereas in UK they called it a hash. Sounds familiar? So it wasn't called a hashtag until it became popular on the social media. You know, you'll be surprised at how long this thing has been around and no one really cared about it. When I was a kid, I always wondered, what does the hash button do on our telephones? I've never seen anyone press that button when we made calls to each other. It was just there, and no one really cared about it. It always felt like ignoring the big elephant in the room that wasn't big to begin with. But the hash sign has been around since the 15th century. Yep, that's a long while ago. Anyway, for the sake of this video, I'm not gonna go over how and why it was used back then, because it's far too long ago to be relevant. But at one point, it found its way on the number pads on the telephones around 1960s. We can all remember when we spent hours speaking to some of the old automated customer service systems, entering all kinds of numbers and entering the hash key. You see, back in the day, the hash symbol was used by these systems as a separator between a bunch of numbers, which explains why everything had to end with the hash key. The first time we saw hashtags on the internet was in Internet Relay Chat, or IRC for short. Some of you younger kids don't remember, but IRC used to be a place where good old people talk to each other through channels. For example, hashtag London would be a channel of people talking about London, or hashtag World Cup would be where people talked about the World Cup. So yeah, I hate to break it to you, but Twitter didn't invent a hashtag, but it did get a new lease of life after Twitter came around. And before we talk about how the hashtag has turned into the icon that it is today, don't forget to leave a like or comment. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm, as a lot of time goes into making these videos. So, how did the hashtag reshape the internet? Well, at the start, Twitter didn't have the hashtag feature. Matter of fact, it took some time for Twitter to implement it. In its early days, Twitter was a bit of a free-for-all, and users were seeing irrelevant content. You see, at the time, when you looked at Twitter, you saw endless number of tweets that weren't organized in any way, which made it impossible to group them around a certain topic. This is where Chris Messina comes in. While running an internet consulting company in 2007, he had an idea. Remember earlier in the video when we talked about how hashtags were used in Internet Relay Chat? Well, our boy Chris Messina took inspiration from that and suggested the idea to Twitter. However, Twitter thought the idea was too nerdy and rejected it. He didn't give up. Instead, he started asking friends to give hashtag a try. Later on, in October 2007, one of his friends was tweeting about a San Diego wildfire, and Chris asked him to add hashtag San Diego fire to his tweets. Slowly but surely, other people started using the same hashtag as well. It turned out that many people wanted to have their voices heard and participate in a global conversation. Eventually, the idea caught on, and in 2009, Twitter added the option to search for hashtags. A year later, Twitter introduced the trending topics, which shows you the most popular hashtags at that time. From there, hashtags were adopted by other social media and became a part of the internet folklore. Instagram literally used it from day one. Other platforms like Facebook and YouTube eventually implemented it as well. By the way, you want to know something interesting? Despite the success of his idea, it was never Chris Messina's intention to profit from the hashtag, something he still doesn't regret to this day. He just wanted to create this idea for the internet and wanted everyone on the internet to be able to participate in a global conversation. I guess not all heroes wear capes. So, what do you think about the hashtag? Did you ever find it helpful to look for an online discussion around a certain topic? For me, I'm an old dog, man. I never used Twitter and probably will never use it, but I have witnessed the impact that it had on the internet in the past decade. Let me know in the comment section below, but be nice to each other, and if you have a curious mind that wants to learn stuff, well, check out the rest of the channel as well.